Hi, my name is Robin Wong. I'm a photographer based in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I have with me the Olympus PEN E-P3. In this video, I want to talk about how this camera revolutionized the mirrorless autofocus system. Let's do this! This Olympus EP3 was launched in the year 2011. That's almost 13 years ago. I found one in the used market at a very good price I cannot resist. And this was the second camera that Olympus sent me back then for review on my blog. The review did very well, so I got this camera now just to relive those nostalgic days. Olympus claimed that at the time of the launch of this EP3, this was the fastest autofocusing camera ever in the world. How true is that? We're going to explore it. And of course, I brought this camera out for some shutter therapy sessions, and let's look at some photographs first. In the earlier days, mirrorless cameras were known to have slow and somewhat unreliable autofocus. The focusing would often hunt, hesitate, and sometimes miss the shot altogether. This is very frustrating for a lot of photographers coming from DSLR. The DSLRs, they have blazing fast and efficient autofocus, and mirrorless was just not good enough. This all changed with the arrival of this Olympus EP3. Olympus did something different in the camera. They changed the contrast detection autofocus. They double the processing speed by including a dual-core processor to handle 120 frames per second capture. As you half press the shutter button, the camera will capture 120 frames per second images. These images are not stored in the camera, but help to determine and calculate the contrast and the focusing for the camera. Because of the double frame rate compared to previous cameras from Olympus, this camera has increased autofocus speed, and definitely the autofocus has become a lot more reliable, to the point where Olympus dared to claim at the time this camera has the fastest autofocus in the world. And some people even dare to claim, and they compare this camera against big boys like the Canon flagship 1D series cameras, and this Olympus EP3 at that time could stand on its own. This changed the landscape of how people perceive mirrorless cameras. Mirrorless cameras are no longer slow, and of course, subsequent cameras that come out from Olympus, they implement this and improve further, and everyone else copied this technique from Olympus. As you can see from the previous images, I've been busy shooting with this Olympus PEN E-P3 on the streets for several sessions. And I gotta say, even 13 years later after this launch, this EP3 is still quite a capable camera for street photography. I personally love the blazing fast autofocus. It is not the fastest now, but it's still more than fast enough to capture decisive moments on the street. Of course, this autofocus system is based on contrast detection, so any moving subjects, this will not be able to track it very effectively. But because the single autofocus is so fast, you look at something, you just lock on it and quickly press the shutter button, you still can capture that moment. Overall, the camera is great. The camera is made of full metal construction, so the build quality is excellent. The handling and ergonomics, they are very good. It feels very comfortable in my hand. There is substantial gripping area in front, and there is a thumb hook. The controls on the camera, the wheels, the buttons, they are logical. I have no issue using this camera whatsoever. And this camera also features 2-axis image stabilization in body. Of course, there's nothing to shout about. Now we have powerful 5-axis image stabilization from Olympus and everyone else. But some image stabilization will still help with that 1 stop or 2 stops stabilizing the shot, then no stabilization at all. And of course, the image sensor in this camera, the 12 megapixel older first generation micro four thirds sensor. This is dated. I'm not expecting miraculous results from this camera, but it is still good enough when I shoot in broad sunlight. I have no issue with dynamic range, noise. I still get plenty of sharp images. Images come out with really good contrast. I'm very happy with the colors of this camera. Overall, the shooting experience of this EP3, even now in the year 2024, has been very positive. Some people will ask, hey Robin, is it worth getting this Olympus EP3 in the year 2024? Well, there's no easy answer to that. My recommendation would be finding newer cameras such as the EP5, one generation after this EP3, and the EM5, where they feature a new image sensor, the 16 megapixels image sensor. That's the second generation sensor for micro four thirds, where you get improved resolution, you get improved dynamic range in high ISO shooting in low light. You'll definitely treasure the much improved image quality. Of course, these cameras also feature updated 5-axis image stabilization, which I think you will really appreciate compared to this meager 2-axis image stabilization. The newer cameras, of course, autofocus has even been improved further. And I think the prices wouldn't differ that much because it's just about one generation apart. So if you can find a used EM5 or EP5, I would suggest getting those cameras instead of this EP3. However, if you find this EP3 at a very good price like myself, that you just cannot resist and you just want to have some fun, it is still a capable camera. You just need to work around the limitations and know what this camera can and cannot do, and you still can get some really good results. The advancement of the autofocus system for mirrorless cameras have come a long way. We have the face detection autofocus PDAF on sensor, which is implemented by Sony, Canon, Fuji, Panasonic, even Olympus and OIF system that greatly helped in improving accuracy. Of course, also tracking the subject both in photo stills shooting as well as video recording. And with the advent of AI, there's some kind of subject detection, smart tracking for all cameras these days. All you have to do is just point a camera at the subject, frame your shot, make sure that the subject is in your frame, and the camera will find that subject automatically, make sure it's in focus, whether it's bird, vehicle, even human face and eye detection. It is so reliable, almost fail-proof now. It almost makes this old EP3, the autofocus system in this camera, obsolete. But I gotta say, putting all these advancements aside, there's something really fun, really organic using this older autofocus system on this EP3. Yes, it is not as reliable, not as efficient as all this modern tech in autofocus, but this camera was the first to push the boundaries of autofocus system for mirrorless. Without this EP3, we don't get all this advancement, and I still find this EP3 to be super reliable, especially for my needs of photography. That's all I have to share about this Olympus PEN E-P3 and how this camera revolutionized the mirrorless autofocus system. And of course, I've shared my experience using this camera today for street photography. Do you agree with my opinion? Do you have something else to share? Please leave them in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. If you found my sharing beneficial, if you've enjoyed looking at my photographs, please consider buying me a cup of coffee, or you can contribute directly to my PayPal. Links in the description below on how I can do that. Any small contribution goes a long way. It will definitely help me to continue making more content. Until next time, please go out and take more photographs. Bye-bye.